Greetings from Don Bosco College. We extend a warm welcome to all the guests and participants who have joined us today. At Don Bosco College, we uphold the motto Learn and Lead, and this international faculty development program is organized to ensure that our teachers, the present leaders, are equipped to handhold and guide our future leaders. The advent of technology has made research, learning, and collaboration across the globe an easy possibility. This faculty development program is organized in collaboration with Globe Ethics South Asia Center, Bengaluru. This faculty development program aims at equipping faculty members with the necessary skills for research, innovation, and collaboration in the age of AI. In this rapidly evolving landscape, where artificial intelligence shapes the future of academia, we are excited to have a diverse group of educators and researchers join us. Over the next 6 days, let's embark on a journey of exploration, collaboration, and skill enhancement.
As we start this enlightening faculty development program, I would like to invite Reverend Dr. Shah Khan, Principal, Don Bosco College, to deliver the presidential address. Let us have a quick look at his profile. Reverend Father Dr. Shahjan Nurhan is a Catholic priest belonging to the religious congregation Salesians of Don Bosco. He has completed his PhD in English literature from Assam Don Bosco University, Guwahati. He has authored 4 books and over 75 articles in popular magazines and journals. He was the youth director of Diocese of Pulanur and Kollam in Kerala. He has worked as a vice principal in Don Bosco College, Kottayam, Kerala, and assistant professor of English at Don Bosco University, Guwahati. He was the director of Don Bosco Image and is currently the principal of Don Bosco College, Tisipalya, Bengaluru.
Over to you, Father.
Esteemed faculty members, distinguished guests, and dedicated participants, I'm here with great pride and anticipation as we commence our faculty development program on crafting excellence, research, and innovation in the age of AI. This collaborative initiative between Don Bosco College, Tisipalaya, Bengaluru, and Globe Ethics South Asia Center, Bangalore, underscores our shared commitment to advancing academic excellence, fostering innovation, and navigating the ever evolving landscape of research in the digital age. Don Bosco College, TC Palaya, Bengaluru, is an integral part of a global network of educational institutions rooted in the principles of the Catholic religious congregation, Salesians of Don Bosco. Our institution is a testament to the visionary work of Saint John Bosco, fondly known as Don Bosco. His contributions during the Industrial Revolution, especially in the area of education and technical training for young workers, orphans, and marginalized communities, have left an indelible mark. Today, Don Bosco College is proud to be part of this global legacy spanning 136 countries with 3,643 schools, 826 vocational training centers, and 85 university institutes worldwide. In India, we have 400 plus schools, 59 colleges, and 1 university. Despite being just a year and a half old, our college boasts over 400 students pursuing undergraduate and postgraduate studies across 5 streams: humanities, computer science, commerce, management, and social work. Our journey through this comprehensive program will traverse vital dimensions of contemporary research. We commence with the foundational module, Introduction to Research Design and Methodologies, which serves as a compass guiding us through the uncharted territories of scholarly exploration. A well crafted research design is a cornerstone upon which groundbreaking research is built, and this module sets the stage for the rigorous academic journey that lies ahead. In the module titled Research in the Digital Age, we confront the transformative influence on technology on the academic landscape. As we navigate the challenges and opportunities presented by the digital era, we seek not only to adapt but to thrive, harnessing the power of artificial intelligence to propel our research into new realms of discovery and innovation. Our exploration deepens with qualitative and quantitative research approaches and applications, acknowledging the diverse methodologies that enrich our scholarly pursuits. Understanding both qualitative and quantitative approaches equips us with a comprehensive toolkit to address the multifaceted nature of research questions. Data collection strategies brings us to the essence of our research endeavors. In an age where information is abundant and precision is paramount, this module aims to provide practical insights and strategies for collecting data that is not just abundant but meaningful and impactful. Systematic analysis of literature review invites us to critically examine the existing body of knowledge. The commitment to ethical conduct in research takes center stage in the module Ethics in Publication and Scholarly Writing. Uh, as guardians of knowledge, it is imperative that we uphold the highest standards of integrity, ensuring the credibility and trustworthiness of our scholarly contributions. Our journey culminates with writing effective research proposals where we refine the art of articulating our research objectives, methods, and anticipated contributions with clarity and persuasiveness. A well crafted research proposal is not merely a document, it is an embodiment of a commitment to excellence and promise of impactful research. I encourage each one of you to approach this faculty development program with enthusiasm, curiosity, and collaborative spirit. Embrace the diversity of perspectives within this virtual gathering, and let us collectively contribute to the advancement of knowledge and innovation in the age of AI. Thank you for your commitment to excellence, and I'm confident that this program will be a transformative experience, equipping you with the tools and insight needed to craft research that not only meets but exceeds the highest standards of excellence. May this journey be marked by discovery, collaboration, and the crafting of research that shapes the future academia. All the best to the organizers. Thank you.
Thank you, Father, for sharing your views and emphasizing the need for research. We have Reverend Father Jose Nandikara, the National Director of Globe Ethics South Asia Center, with us to deliver the keynote address. Let us view his profile.
Reverend Dr. Jose Nandikara was formerly Dean of the Faculty of Philosophy at Dharmaram Vidyakshetram, Bangalore, the head of the Department of Philosophy and Theology at Christ University, Bangalore, and director of the Center for the Study of World Religions, Bangalore. He was a visiting fellow at University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur, KU University, Leuven, IIT ISM Dhanbad, and an international fellow of KAICIID, Vienna. Father Jose holds a BSc in Geology from Calicut University, licentiate in Philosophy from Gregorian University, Rome, MA in Philosophy and Theology from Oxford University, and PhD in Philosophy from Warwick University, UK. Father Jose is a Wittgensteinian scholar who contributes to the fields of philosophical anthropology, ethics, intercultural and interreligious dialogue, and philosophy of religion. He has authored a book and edited 6 volumes and has contributed over 70 research articles in peer-reviewed journals and edited volumes. Father Jose Nandikara is guided by the Vedic vision, let noble thoughts come from all sides, in his interreligious work. Don Bosco College, Bengaluru welcomes you, Father.
Over to you, Father.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you for the kind words and also the opportunity to talk to people who are involved in this faculty development program. Crafting excellence, research and innovation in the age of AI, a very important topic, a timely topic, and I congratulate both Don Bosco College and Global Ethics Net for this FDP. And welcome all the faculty members and researchers and other participants. As I was introduced, my training is basically in philosophy. Philosophers ask very simple, most generic questions. So when we have the title Crafting Excellence, Research and Innovation in the Age of AI, I raise the age-old question, exciting and nagging at the same time. Why do we do what we do now? What is the purpose? What is the goal of research and innovation in the age of AI? And when we speak about crafting excellence, excellence in what? In marks, in education, in making money, in holding power? What kind of an excellence are we speaking about, or we should be speaking about? Therefore, for this inaugural address, let me craft the question as research and innovation in the age of AI, crafting ethical excellence. So my purpose at the very beginning of this 1 week long faculty development program is a simple request and a plea to introduce and integrate ethics into research and innovation. And therefore, our excellence should be primarily an ethical excellence. The AI is increasingly pervasive in all fields of human life, in healthcare, finance, education, military, politics. There is no field now where AI is not involved. And the importance is going to be on the high. Therefore, we need to speak about now, not just about technology or science and technology. We are moving into human and AI collaboration. And we are going to ask the question, what is it for? Like any other innovation and mastery, starting with fire and the latest AI, it could be used for good or for bad. It could be used for good results and not so good results. Fire, the simplest example, could be used very well and we cannot live without fire, but managing fire is tough. Or language, something that distinguishes human beings from other animals. Yet, language could be used for good. Science, technology, any field that you take, it could be religion. It could be used for good result or bad result. So the basic premise for me is AI could be used for good research and innovation and bad research and innovation. How do we distinguish? What are our norms? It is there I suggest ethics should guide us. Ethics should, our research in innovation must be aligned to ethical principles. We need to develop and maintain ethically aligned AI by developing and deploying artificial intelligence systems in a manner that aligns with ethical principles and standards. Ethical considerations are to be integrated into the design, development, and implementation of AI technologies. And when we use AI technologies into our research and innovations, we should ensure that advancements in artificial intelligence align with ethical principles, human values, sustainable development, and societal well being and protection of our globe. It is said famously in the Sustainable Development Goals, we need to aim at sustainable prosperity and peace for people and planet. For that, we are cooperating. As a first step, we should introduce and integrate ethics education into all levels of education. Globe Ethics is committed to fostering ethics education in higher education, to raise awareness and build competence. Let me briefly speak about 4 areas. One, the 5 pillars of being human. The distinction between human beings and other beings, other living beings. We say we are Homo sapiens. We distinguish between appearance and reality. We are equally Homo politicus. We come together, legislate rules, and we have certain order and governance in when we live in society. In primary levels, in basic levels, animals also share in the knowledge and common living. However, human beings have much advanced use of intelligence and the politics. Thirdly, we are economicals. We manage our homes, we manage our cities, and we manage our wealth of the nations and now the whole globe. Now, even we speak about planetary economics. And fourthly, we have a sense of beauty, homo aestheticus, culture, and, and the elements that integrate like music, dance, and films in many ways. So we are cultural beings, economic beings, political beings, rational beings. And I add the fifth one, a roof over those 4 pillars, homo ethicus. We distinguish not only between appearance and reality, but we also distinguish between what is the case and what ought to be the case. Human life is governed by rules and standards. They are organic ones, they are growing ones, they are dynamic ones. But every moment, we are also guided by ethics. And we need to bring that into focus. There is implicit ethics and explicit ethics. Explicit ethics is what we teach, for example, moral philosophy. Implicit ethics is how we live in the society and how we ought to live in the society. Let me draw your attention to the 4 pillars of education, the famous document by UNESCO, Jacques Delors, the learning, the treasure within. What is the purpose of our research, education? The document says we learning to know and learning to learn, thereby developing a confidence. Secondly, learning to do, learning skills, learning to be competent. These are the 2 things that we develop through our education, a confidence and a competence. Third pillar of education, which I consider most important today, is learning to live together. We are living more and more in fragmented societies and individualism on the rise and indifference is very much there. We need to learn to live together. And our research and innovation must have this element, how that makes a contribution. My dear participants, your research and innovation, we should raise the question, what is the purpose of it? What contribution would I make as an academic to the society for the well-being, peace, prosperity for people and planet? There I suggest our emphasis, our obsession with the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics should move to STEAM, science, technology, ethics, arts, and mathematics. We need ethics and arts to make us human. Let us save our humanities to save humanity. To conclude, often we speak about ethics and education, ethical education for our students. Isn't it equally important that we have ethics education for teachers, ethics education for professions, and very importantly, ethics education for the institution? So for today, this week in the FDP, when we speak about crafting excellence, I suggest integrate crafting ethics, ethical excellence. Wish you a wonderful week, and may your research and innovation make contribution to the well-being of the society. And that's my last point, the fourth pillar of education, learning to be our character. Let our education makes us truly human. I conclude, let us be human. Once again, thank you very much, and very happy to inaugurate this 1 week long faculty development program at Don Bosco College. Thank you.
Thank you, Father, for the enlightening session that set the right tone for the faculty development program. As we start the faculty development program, we have with us Dr. Ethan Young Ession to introduce us to research design and methodology. Let us have a look at the profile.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure to introduce Dr. Eaton H. Young Essien, a distinguished leader in global public service and women's rights. She is currently an educational consultant who guides doctoral candidates through their academic research and writing journey. Dr. Young brings a wealth of experience to our faculty development program. She has served as a UN Women Fellow, held leadership positions in international NGOs, and excelled in executive leadership. With a background that spans engineering, international social enterprise management, and education, Dr. Young is uniquely positioned to guide us through the evolving landscape of research. Her expertise lies in strategic leadership, organizational development, and operations management. In our faculty development program on research and innovation in the age of AI, Dr. Young takes the lead with her insightful session on Introduction to Research Design and Methodology. Dr. Young's commitment to fostering positive change and innovation in the realm of international development and programs makes her a dynamic resource person. As we delve into the FDP, let's embrace the expertise of Dr. Young.
We welcome you, ma'am, and I request you to start the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon or good evening for everyone. My name is Dr. Etan H. Young Essien, and I am just pleased to be with you on today. I am so grateful that the invitation was extended to join. So I appreciate all of the staff, leadership, and faculty at Don Bosco College, and also at Global Ethics India. I think this is a great convening, one that is more than timely, and I look forward to engaging in intellectual conversations about how we can craft excellence for the future of research and development, particularly in this age of artificial intelligence. As it has been stated prior, AI has really transformed the landscape of the world, healthcare, education, but more specifically, academic research and scholarly writing. And while AI is an amazing development, I have to say it does not replace the human element in research and innovation. If anything, AI should serve as a complement to our human knowledge and our human capacity, particularly within this space of research and innovation. And in terms of our role and how we ensure that AI is used ethically and responsibly, we have to make sure that our oversight in research and our writing addresses the limitations that come with artificial intelligence, particularly within this realm of education. So again, thank you for having me this week. My task is to just lay the foundation of research design and methodology. I've seen a few of you who were participants. Many of you are professors. Some of you are students. So if this information sounds a bit redundant, just hang in there with me. And hopefully there is something new that you may find along the way. So shall we get started? Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Play first. Okay. As I stated, I am Dr. Young, and I am here to give a brief introduction to research design and methodology. So our discussion points today will revolve around the question, what is research? We'll explore the importance of research. We'll take a dive into research design. We'll look at the steps that are involved in actually designing one's research strategy. We'll look at a few research methodologies. We'll take a brief exploration of data collection. We'll also have some brief commentary around reliability, generalizability, and validity. And then we'll talk about those ethical considerations in research. Our objectives for today are 4. The first is to understand get a clear understanding of the fundamental concepts and significance of research design. The second is to differentiate between qualitative and quantitative research methodologies. The third is to recognize the iterative and flexible nature of the research process and understand the importance of ethical considerations. And lastly, our objective is to engage in critical thinking about the selection of appropriate research designs for specific research questions. What is research? Cresswell and Cresswell define research as a process of steps that are used to collect and analyze information to increase or enhance our understanding of a topic and or an issue. And this process involves the posing of a research question or problem, collecting data, and finally presenting an answer to the question that has been composed for inquiry. Why is research important? Research helps us to verify or test important facts. It helps us to analyze it, process and or phenomenon. It helps us to identify a cause and effect relationship. Research assists us in developing new scientific tools, concepts, and theories to solve and understand scientific and non-scientific problems. It also helps us to find solutions to these scientific and non-scientific and social problems. And finally, it helps us to solve the challenging issues that occur in our everyday life. What are the steps associated with research design? There are 5. The first is to establish the priority of your research. This is where you will pose your question or identify the problem that you seek to research. Two, the second step is to look at the data types or the data that's already available. So that is doing your research, going through the different literature and bodies of knowledge that are already there, which will help one determine how one can bridge the gap between the current literature and bodies of knowledge and the data that already exists. So this helps us to understand how the research and innovation that we engage in will help to contribute or create new findings for the fields of interest that we're studying. The third step is going to be your data collection. That is where you engage your data sample, your population, and you gather data that will help you answer the question that you have outlined for your specific research inquiry. The fourth step is analyzing the data. So once the data is collected, you'll go through the analysis to generate the findings from your research. And then lastly, you'll present your research proposal, or in this case, our scholarly writings, our dissertations, publications, etc. What is a research methodology? We've talked about the steps that go into a research design. So now we want to talk a little bit about methodology or the strategy that we use to execute our research design and our plan. So our methodology details the researcher's approach to research to ensure reliable, valid results that address aims and objectives of research. It includes the type of data collected, data sources, the data collection process, and analysis. So there are three modes of research inquiry. The first being qualitative, the second quantitative, third mixed methods. Qualitative research involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data to understand concepts, opinions, experiences, and/or phenomenons. Qualitative research focuses on collecting and analyzing numerical data to describe characteristics, find correlations, and/or test hypotheses. Mixed methods research combines elements of both qualitative and quantitative research in order to answer certain research questions. And here on the chart, it makes it a bit more visual. You'll see the different types of qualitative and quantitative research designs and their primary uses. And feel free to ask any questions at any time. Qualitative research. Qualitative research begins with assumptions and the use of interpretive and theoretical frameworks that inform the study of research problems addressing the meaning individuals or a group just ascribe to a social or human problem. To study this problem, qualitative researchers use an emerging qualitative approach to inquiry, the collection of data in a natural setting sensitive to the people or places being studied, and data analysis that is both inductive and deductive and establishes patterns and themes. The final written report or presentation, or in this case, dissertations, include the voices of the participants, the reflexivity of the researcher, a complex description and interpretation of the problem, and its contribution to the literature or a call for change. So there are various types of qualitative designs, and here are four. There's the case study, there's the ethnography, grounded theory, and phenomenology. The case study details a specific subject, for example, place, person, event, organization, etc. With the case study, data can be collected using a variety of sources and methods, and the focus is on gaining a holistic understanding of the case at hand. For the ethnography, this is a detailed study of the culture of a specific community or group. Data is collected by extended immersion and/or close observation. And this particular qualitative design focuses on describing and interpreting beliefs, conventions, social dynamics, etc. There's grounded theory, which aims to develop a theory by systematically analyzing qualitative data. And for the phenomenological design, that aims to understand a phenomenon and or event by describing participants' lived experience. One design that I also like to add that is not listed is the historical study. An historical qualitative design is the ideal choice for studies that involve the extensive examination of the past, including people, events, and/or documents. The purpose of the historical study is to draw conclusions about the present and the future based off of research conducted in the past. This particular model depends on adequate interview sources and historical documents, and it's essential to validate the accuracy of the data and find primary sources. So what are the advantages of qualitative research? One advantage is that you have some flexibility in terms of how you can engage the study, the types of methods that can be employed or strategies that can be employed, or approaches rather, that can be employed to get to the result of the study that you are seeking to understand. You can also walk away with very meaningful insights. And you also have the advantage of generating new ideas. A few disadvantages of qualitative research design is that it's very, very subjective. Unlike quantitative research, where you don't have hard numbers and facts, you're dealing with individual experiences, people's feelings, phenomenons, themes, etc., can be very, very subjective. And also as a researcher, there's a possibility that we can engage our own bias, although it is encouraged that we do not, but that oftentimes our bias can surface in the midst of our research inquiry, which could affect our data if we're not careful. The other advantage is limited generalizability. The goal of data is to have it be generalizable, meaning that it can be applicable to larger populations and larger samples. One of the disadvantages of qualitative research is that it does not provide that level of generalizability. And lastly, it's arduous. When we think about the types of data collection methods and the time it takes to analyze, it can become a very tedious process, but it can be done. So those are the advantages and disadvantages of the qualitative research design. Moving on to quantitative research. The purpose of quantitative research is to generate knowledge and create an understanding about the social world. This type of research is often used by social scientists, including communication researchers, to observe phenomenon and occurrences affecting individuals. Quantitative research is a way to learn about a particular group of people, known as a sample population. Using scientific inquiry, quantitative research relies on data that are observed and are measured to examine questions about the sample population. So what are the type of quantitative research designs? First, you have the experimental design, which is used to test causal relationships. It involves manipulating an independent variable and measuring its effect on a dependent variable. Subjects are randomly assigned to groups and are usually conducted in a controlled environment. Experimental research designs are used to test, again, causal relationships. They're similar to experimental designs, but it does not have the random assignment. These designs often involve comparing the outcomes of pre-existing groups, and it's often conducted in a natural environment. Correlational designs are used to test whether and how strongly variables are related. Variables are measured without influencing the variables that are present. And the descriptive design is used to describe characteristics, averages, trends, etc. And variables are used to measure without influencing them. And if I am correct, I believe that a panelist later on in the week will delve deeper into both quantitative and qualitative research designs. What are the advantages and disadvantages of quantitative research? One advantage is that you can have a large sample size. You can have a direct comparison of results. It's not as subjective, and you can actually replicate the data. In terms of disadvantages, there is a limited focus. There is often a lack of context, and there could also be design bias in terms of how the study is actually designed, if there's missing data, the type of the method in which you have decided to analyze the data which has been collected. All of those things can influence the design. The third is mixed methods. Mixed methods research combines elements of qualitative and quantitative research in order to answer one's research questions. Mixed methods can help a researcher gain a more complete picture of a phenomenon or person, place, thing, organization. It helps to create a more complete picture than just a standalone quantitative or qualitative study, as it integrates the benefits of both methods. Mixed methods research is often used in the behavioral health and social sciences, particularly in multidisciplinary settings and complex situational or societal research. There are three designs that are present in mixed methods. And so this particular chart shows the basic mixed methods research designs. The first of which is the parallel design, the explanatory sequential design, and the exploratory sequential design. Convergent parallel design consists of taking qualitative and quantitative data collection and analysis and comparing or relating the two and then interpreting them. Areas of convergence or divergence between the qualitative and quantitative results should be obviously discussed. In the explanatory sequential design, this one starts with quantitative data collection and analysis, and then is followed by qualitative data collection and analysis, which then leads to interpretation. This helps to determine what quantitative results need further explanation. And in the last sequential design, it starts with qualitative data collection and analysis and builds to quantitative data collection analysis, which then leads to interpretation. So in these last two sequential designs, some of the steps are done at a different time in the process. So in this last design, qualitative results are used to develop a new instrument for qualitative inquiry. What are the advantages and disadvantages of mixed methods research? First, there is some flexibility. Again, since you are integrating two methods of research, you do have a bit more freedom in terms of how you engage your research inquiry. And you essentially get the best of both worlds. You get the element of subjectivity and also the element of hard factual data. In terms of disadvantages, again, it is labor intensive because now you're not just analyzing both lived experiences, you're also adding in the analysis of hard factual data, which can take some time. And you can often get conflicting results because qualitative findings may not always correlate or show up as equal to the results that have been generated using a quantitative approach. So then we get into data sampling. Now that we know the different methods that are available, how exactly do we collect data? During the research process, we'll collect data from a desired group or demographic. The smaller group within this target population is known as the sample. The sample is the group of individuals who will actually participate in the research. Sampling allows for large-scale research to be done more strategically and efficiently. And to draw valid conclusions from one's results, researchers have to carefully decide how to select the sample that is going to be representative of the group as a whole. The common types of sampling that you find in academic research are probability sampling and non-probability sampling. And again, the participants will learn more as the week goes on. My task here today is just to lay a very brief foundation. With probability sampling, the sample is used using random methods, mainly in quantitative research, and it allows for you to make strong statistical inferences about the population. Non-probability sampling is done in a non-random way, and this particular method is used in both qualitative and quantitative research. It's easier to achieve, but presents more of a risk around research bias. So you'll see that there are, while there are two main sampling methods, the probability and non-probability sampling methods, you will find that there are some sampling sampling methods that can be employed during both your qualitative and quantitative research. So for probability sampling, you have the simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling. For non-probability sampling, you have your convenience sampling, quota, purposive, and snowball or referral sampling. And again, as the week goes on, you'll learn more about each of these and how they relate to a particular type of research method employed. Data collection. This is where research actually becomes a bit interesting because there are quite a few ways that one can collect data during their research process. But what is data collection? Data collection is a systematic process of gathering observations or measurements that allow you to gain firsthand knowledge and original insights into your research inquiry. Prior to data collection, the researcher must be clear on the aim of the research, the type of data that you will collect, and the methods and procedures that you will use to collect, store, and process the data. One thing I want to say in regard to the research question, your research question should always drive your methodology and the manner in which you collect your data, and not the other way around. If we use our method and different data collection strategies to inform our question, the findings may not be as authentic as we would like to be. So one rule of thumb in the research process is to always have your research question guide your methodology and your data collection. It makes a world of a difference. So there are different methods to data collection. And this chart here shows what those methods are, when to use those methods, and how to collect data. I won't go through each one. I'll just pick out a couple. The first one is experiment, and this is to test a causal relationship. So 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, this particular data collection method will be used with a quantitative research strategy. And how does one collect data using this method? It's used to manipulate variables and measure their effects on others. Interviews and focus groups. That is typically done in a qualitative research design, but can also be utilized in a quantitative study. And interviews and focus groups are engaged to gain an in-depth understanding of perceptions, phenomenons, themes, and our opinions on a particular topic. And with this particular method, the researcher will engage participants in open-ended questions, with open-ended questions in various individual interviews and or focus groups. And the number of questions, the number of interviews, and the number of focus groups, again, will be determined by your research question and your research design in terms of how you plan to go about executing your research inquiry. So those are just a few. And I do believe the PowerPoint will be shared post-presentation, so all of this information will be available for you. So what I wanted to do was break down data collection methods based on the type of research inquiry, whether you're doing a qualitative study or a quantitative study. So in qualitative research design, data collection is going to be done via a number of ways. Typically, the data is collected through interviews, as we just stated, focus groups, observation, open-ended questions, textual analysis, and audio and video recording. These are not all of the ways in which data can be collected, but these are just some of the ways that data can be collected. With qualitative research design, data is often collected with experiments, controlled observations, surveys, polls, longitudinal studies, interviews. This is where you get into your ANOVAs and everything related to quantitative research. And in terms of the tools that are used to analyze the data for qualitative research, you're going to use maybe an in vivo or an atlas to do your coding and organizing your themes that pop out through your research. And with quantitative data, you're going to typically employ an SPSS or a Strata to help you move through the data collection. Okay. In terms of mixed methods data collection, you're going to have an integration of both of those methods that we previously discussed. Their experiments, controlled observations, surveys, polls, studies, interviews, which can be found in both types of designs, your observation, open-ended questions, textual analysis, audio and video recordings. These are few. Again, these are not all. So please don't feel that you are limited to what is on the screen. So what happens when we have our data, we've gotten our design, we have settled on our research method, we've collected our data, we've gone through the analyzation process. We get to a point where we have to determine if our data is reliable, if it's generalizable, and if there is some validity to the data. And what does that mean? These concepts are used to evaluate the quality of research They indicate how well a method, a technique, and or test measure something. In this case, it will be whatever the research inquiry is that you have decided upon as the researcher. Reliability is about the consistency of a measure, and validity is about the accuracy of a measure. Generalizability is a measure of how useful the results of a study are for a broader group of people and or situations. And again, validity of the study simply refers to how well the results among the participants represent true findings among similar individuals outside of the study. We're moving on to the last section of this foundational approach to research, and that is the ethical considerations in research. And this element of the conversation is critical, particularly as we again talk about the advancements of artificial intelligence in the space of academic research and innovation. Ethical considerations in research consists of a set of principles that guide research designs and practices. Researchers must always adhere to a certain code of conduct when collecting data from participants of the study. Ethical consideration does the following. It protects the rights of the research participants. It protects the researcher from liability and noncompliance. It enhances research validity, and it maintains scientific and/or academic integrity. Now, I am not sure what body, a regulatory body, oversees the ethics in the college system in India, but in back home in the US, we're all subject to IRB approval. So we have to go through a certain training, a certain process to where our study is approved. We have to make sure that we have what do we call those things? Oh, I'm blanking out. We make sure that we have participant consent forms. We have to make sure that all of the data is stored properly and confidentially as to not reveal the identities of anybody who is participating in our study. Because if we don't have those protections, a number of things can happen. Individuals in our study, their identities can be revealed, which may or may not be a good thing for them, depending on who they are, where they work, and the nature and content of the study. We also want to make sure that our research is not invalidated because we have not taken into context these ethical considerations. So I saw some heads moving with the panelists. Would anyone like to chime in and speak briefly about the ethical process in the Indian college system? Is it similar to IRB? Is it the same? Or does anyone want to drop it in the chat if they don't want to be put on the spot? Because while I'm speaking from my personal context, I want to make sure that the context of the audience is also upheld and informed. So
we give a lot of importance to the ethical consideration in research. So yes, even here, when we go ahead with the research, we need the consent form from the participants, especially
okay.
when it's a qualitative research or quantitative as well. We get the consent form. And then if it's any kind of science related research, there is a lot of procedure that has to be followed. So I think in that aspect, there's a lot of similarity.
Okay, and is there a name for the regulatory body that
Yes, there is an
provides?
ethical commission, and every research institution is supposed to have a ethical body. So whether it's a university or a college, they have an ethical body. So before we go ahead with the research, they get the consent of the ethical body of their organization as well, and then go ahead with their research. So even if a PhD scholar has to get the consent.
Wonderful. So for us, it's IRB. For the Indian college system, it is the Ethical Commission. So same thing, just different nomenclature, but the purpose is the same, is to make sure that you are covered as the researcher and that your participants are covered as well. because the worst thing that can happen during the research process is for research to be invalidated because we have not upheld ethical considerations. And if we look back through many historical research processes, some that were very controversial, were so because many ethics were not taken into consideration, and the livelihoods of participants were compromised because of that. So we always want to keep those ethical considerations in mind. And here's a chart that lists a few of the ethical considerations that we should be mindful of as researchers. Voluntary participation. We want to make sure that our participants are free to opt into or out of our study at any time. No one should be forced to do a research study. No one should be bribed to do a research study. Everyone should be every participant who is involved in the study should do so at their own their own decision or by virtue of their own choice. In terms of informed consent, participants have to be fully aware of the research study. They need to be made aware of the purpose, the benefits, the risks, funding, if any, behind the study before they agree and or decline to join. Anonymity, this is a big one in research. We want to make sure that our participants are not recognizable for a host of reasons. In the event that a participant's identity is revealed, they could perhaps lose a job, they could lose funding, it could cause some unwanted dynamics within the workplace, among colleagues, within professional networks. So we want to make sure that individuals who participate in our study, we want to make sure that we conceal their identities, we conceal their institutions, because we don't want to have someone penalized or experience negative consequences because they participated in a certain level of research. With anonymity comes confidentiality. Not only do we want to make sure those identities are concealed, we also want to make sure that the information that these individuals provide is also concealed. Some of the information that is collected is not always pretty. It's not always, happy-go-lucky information. Some of the data can be emotionally charged. Some of it can cast a negative light on a particular individual, a particular event, or a particular institution. So we want to make sure that the information that we gather it remains confidential while we're doing the study and post-study. So it's going to be important to make sure that that the information is stored properly, that it is stored safely, and that, again, it remains confidential. Now, in this age of AI, where it seems to be so easy to create information or misinformation, it becomes increasingly important to ensure that all of the information that we gather during our studies is accurate, was not only accurate, but it's also protected, not only for our sake, but for the sake of the individuals in our study. This is a big one, potential for harm. We want to make sure that our research does not harm anybody participating in our study, whether it is physical, social, psychological, emotional, financial, any other types of harm that one can identify. We want to make sure that it is non-existent. Again, going back through some of these historical research studies that have been done globally, there have been individuals that have been harmed physically, socially, psychologically, and I'm sure many of these cases either have been explored along your academic journey or will be explored along your journey. But we want to make sure that in our role as researchers, we are acting ethically and responsibly, considering the work and the tasks that we engage. And lastly, results communication. We want to make sure that our work is free of plagiarism. So we don't want to take anybody else's ideas. We want to make sure, now while we are quoting others, we want to make sure that the work that we produce is ours alone. And if we do use someone else's words or our work, that we cite appropriately, as to, not find ourselves in a situation later on in our professional careers where someone is pulling up our work and calling us out for plagiarism. And I know the lines in research are very fine, because plagiarism can be considered, can be claims even if you misplace a quotation mark. So we just want to make sure that we are, it goes from that to actually full scale copying someone else's work, but we want to make sure that we do neither of those things, correct? And yeah, we just want to make sure that we accurately represent the data and the work that we are engaged in. And again, in this age of AI, where we can create data using Chat GPT, or we can get into an engine where we can, give one of the AI tools a prompt and it'll generate everything. We want to make sure that we are being diligent. And if we are using AI in our research, again, it should be used as a complement to our work as researchers, and again, a complement to our human capacity and human intellect. I think that is it for the brief introduction. I know that was very quick, but I want to open it up for any comments, any questions, any insights. And I should also add that in my work as a educational consultant, or even with my own PhD, my academic experience, my expertise is in qualitative qualitative research design. While I am no stranger to numbers, considering my engineering background, I found that qualitative research just provided a richer experience and more touch points for not only myself as a researcher, but for the individuals that were involved in my study. So if there are any questions around qualitative research, happy to provide some insights. And for the qualitative research, I will leave that to my colleagues who will present later on in the week.
Thank you for the wonderful session. I think in like 45 minutes, you touched upon all the aspects of research, advantages, disadvantages, the different methods, importance of a good research question, the different sampling techniques, data collection method, research design, and to end with the ethical consideration as well. So it was like everything covered in one session. That was wonderful. We have some questions. The first question is, how ethical do you think is using AI tools for research?
How ethical do I think it is? As I'm going to give my opinion, and then I'll try to follow it up with a little bit more fact. How ethical do I think AI is? Initially, I felt that AI was just an amazing, and I still do think that AI is an amazing development. Globally, it is, any advancement of technology is great. Any technology that allows for us to improve our lives, our processes that we engage, and just our realities overall. At the core of who I am a scientist, I'm an engineer. I believe in creating, I believe in innovation. However, there are some limits, right? I think. And just in the last year or so, or maybe 2 years, or definitely during COVID, so I'll say maybe 3 or 4, we've seen how detrimental AI can be. And so we as humans, as individuals, we have to find a good balance between how we use AI, how AI is used in our research and development and innovative processes. The father said earlier, AI can be used for good and or bad. And it and whether it's good or bad actually lies in our hands, right? AI can't create itself. So AI can only be as good as we want it to be, and it can only be as bad as we want it to be. And so with that, I believe that, again, we have a role in ensuring that we use AI ethically and responsibly, right? And keep those, as Father said earlier, those ethical principles. We make sure that they align with how we utilize the technology. I'm not sure if that answers the question.
It surely answers the question, and it surely highlights the power that we have as researchers. So a lot lies in our hands as well as to how we use AI. We have one more question, if it is okay with you. Can we go with one more question? It's could you explain how bias in qualitative research can be minimalized during its execution?
Okay, so with bias, it's very important for the researcher, to our researchers, because oftentimes some of our studies can be conducted with more than one researcher. It is important to recognize that you have biases. There are some of us who like to think, oh, well, I'm not biased. I don't have any bias. I'm perfectly objective. Not the case. If you're human, you are biased about something. So the to do would be to recognize that you do carry your own bias. B, when it comes to the context of the actual research process, is to create a way in which that bias can be minimized. So this is where we get into peer review. If you have a dissertation coach, working with him or her just to kind of check data, do your checks and balances, record, writing everything down. One thing that I did for that proved to be very helpful during my dissertation journey was that I compiled like a research journal, right, where I wrote everything down. And when I went to my weekly check-ins with my chairperson, we walked through each of those to make sure that my own biases or anything that came up that was too subjective or any element of the research that was too close to my own field of study or my own professional field, that I was not bringing in, my own insights and feelings and lived experiences. So just having someone there who can check your process with you along the way. Again, having a journal, checking in with your chair, perhaps having a dissertation coach, doing something at every point of your research journey to make sure that while you do have biases as a researcher, those biases don't interfere with your research process, your design, and your ultimate findings of that research. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. And that surely answers the question because it is your experience and your knowledge that we also look forward to learn from. The last question for the day, based on your experience, can you give some real-time scenario for mixed method research design, where mixed method would be most appropriate?
Ooh. I will probably have to get back to you on that because again, my expertise is in qualitative research, and I don't have um, a full range of knowledge of where mixed methods research would be employed. But hey, this is a shared learning space. I've seen a few of my doctoral colleagues online, so if you want to drop in the chat, uh, um, uh, uh, if you want to drop in the chat a scenario when mixed methods would be used, that would be great. And that will help me learn as well. And that's one thing about research is that we're always learning. You know, no matter how many degrees you have, we all have some limitations in one space. And admittedly, mine is mixed methods, but it's a space where I can learn. And I hope that we are all lifelong learners, as I endeavor to be. So I'm sorry I couldn't provide a full answer to that question, but I hope to pull on the knowledge of those who are online to be able to to provide their experience and scenarios and when they think mixed methods would be appropriate.
I think the very idea that we all should be ready to learn is what makes us all researchers and learners. And that is what we all, through this FDP, also aim at to learn. And I think with the modern landscape of research changing in every aspect, now we can look at mixed method, applying research, right? And through the mixed method. Thank you a lot for a wonderful session and for being patient to take our questions. I request Professor Maria Nirmal to propose the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. As we conclude today's enlightening session on Introduction to Research Design and Methodology, it is my privilege to thank Dr. Young for her invaluable contribution to our faculty development program. Dr. Young, your expertise and profound insights into research methodology have not only enlightened us, but also significantly enhanced the depth of our academic and practical understanding. The clarity and the relevance of your presentation, coupled with engaging discussions, have provided us with comprehensive perspective on the subject matter. On behalf of Don Bosco College and all other present here, I express our profound gratitude for the knowledge and wisdom you have imparted today. Your dedication to fostering a deeper understanding of research design in the context of AI is both commendable and inspiring. Thank you, Madam, for your truly remarkable and thought-provoking session. We eagerly anticipate future opportunities to benefit from your expertise. Thank you, everyone, for your active participation and making this session a success. Wishing you all a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We are ending the session.
Thank you.